All right. Hi, loves. Welcome to 4.7 day 2, completing the square when a is not 1. So, yesterday the first step was to factor out a when the coefficient wasn't 1. Well, that was all 1 yesterday. So, today a is not 1, and so we have to factor it out. So, if we're looking at example 1, and then it's just a normal steps like yesterday. You take half of b, you square it, you add and subtract it, and then you just solve for x, or factor and then solve. So if we're looking at example 1a, we can divide everything by 3. So we have divided by 3, factor out that 3. So we have 3 and then x squared plus 4x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, in order to solve, we divide both sides by 3. We have x squared plus 4x minus 6 equals 0. And then we do what we did yesterday. We solve by completing the square. So half of b, so 4 divided by 2 squared is 2 squared, which is 4. So you want to add and subtract 4. So you have x squared plus 4x plus 4 minus 4 minus that 6 equals 0. Here is that pink box again. So what does that factor to? Well, that factors to x plus 2 squared. Combine these, we have minus 10 equals 0. So that's just going to be x plus 2 squared equals 10. Square root both sides, x plus 2 equals plus or minus square root of 10. X equals negative 2 plus or minus square root of 10. Boom. Okay. Example 1b, factor out a 2. 2 goes into everything. So we have 2 on the outside, x squared minus 2x minus 7 equals 0. Divide everything by 2. We have x squared minus 2x minus 7 equals 0. Half of b, so negative 2 divided by 2 squared is just 1. So we're going to have x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus that 7 equals 0. Here is your box. We want to solve that. So, factor that. So we have x minus 1 squared, combine these, minus 8 equals 0. Now, add that 8 over, we get x minus 1 squared equals positive 8. And then we take the square root of both sides. X minus 1 equals plus or minus square root of 8. Well, 8 can be broken down into 2 root 2. So x minus 1 equals plus or minus 2 square root of 2. You have to break down the radicals. Add 1 to both sides. X equals 1 plus or minus 2 square root of 2. So you have to make sure that you break down this square root of 8 to 2 square root of 2. I need you to break those down. Okay, we're zooming along. Example C. Oh no, 2 doesn't go into everything. But the nice thing is with this, the general rule is to just divide everything by the a value. Now, when I don't have something, so like up here, we could divide out a 3 from everything, a 2 from everything. But when it doesn't go into everything nicely, I start by moving my c value or my last term over. So I'm going to start by moving that 27 over. So we have 2x squared plus 12x equals negative 27. Now, I want to divide everything by 2. So we're going to have 2x squared plus 6x equals negative 27. Sorry, not divide everything by 2. Just take out the GCF on the left side. Now I want to divide everything by 2. So we're going to have x squared plus 6x equals negative 27 over 2. So then we're going to take half of b and square it. So 6 divided by 2 squared is 9. So we're going to have x squared plus 6. Oh, I forgot the x up here. X plus 9 minus 9 equals negative 27 over 2. Okay, so we want to factor this pink box. So that factors to x plus 3 squared minus 9 equals negative 27 over 2. Okay, I want to add 9 to both sides. So by adding 9, we're going to have x plus 3 squared equals, just use your calculator, negative 27 over 2 plus 9 is negative 9 over 2. Okay? So we have negative 9 over 2. Square root both sides. So this is going to be x plus 3 equals plus or minus the square root of negative 9 over the square root of 2. And so with that, you have to take the square root of negative 9 is going to be 3i. So we're going to have x plus 3 equals plus or minus 3i over square root of 2. Woof, this is kind of a mess. So then we're going to have rationalize this. So we have to multiply the square root of 2 top and bottom. So this is going to be x plus 3 equals plus or minus 3i square root of 2 over 2. And then we minus the 3 from both sides. So final answer is going to be x equals negative 3 plus or minus 3i square root of 2 over 2. Perfect. I know it's kind of a mess, but that's okay. And then for example D, we have to divide everything by that a value, which is 3. So we're going to divide everything by 3. And so I showed you how to move the 27 over. You also could have, actually, no, let's just move the 5 over. Let's move it over, not even deal with it. So we're going to subtract the 5 over from both sides. So we're going to have 3x squared plus 4x equals negative 5. Divide everything, every single term, by 3. So we're going to have x squared plus 4/3 x equals negative 5 over 3. Now, I know some of you are like, well, how can we just divide everything by 3 if, like, it's not really doing anything? But really, if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other, and so it kind of just works out. You just divide everything by 3. In this sense, I mean, really, like, if you compare C and D, sorry, I'm kind of backtracking. If you compare C and D, we subtracted the 5 or the 27 over, and then we divided everything. And that was nice because the 2 went into the first two terms. But this, like, the 3 doesn't go into the 4. So we just divide everything by 3 and we have fractions. And that's okay. Fractions are fine. So take half of B and square it. So we have 4/3 divided by 2 and square that. So that's going to be 4/9. Use your calculator. So this is going to be x squared plus 4/3 x plus 4/9 minus 4/9 equals negative 5/3. Okay, here is your pink box. You know you did it right if you have perfect square, like perfect squares in the last purple one, because you just take the square root of the 4 to the square root of the 9, and that's how you factor it. So if we factor this, it goes to, the pink box goes to x plus 2/3 squared minus 4/9 equals negative 5 over 3. So again, I just took the square root of this 4, the square root of that 9, and that's how you get that fraction, 2/3. So like if it was like 16 over 25, right, it would just be 4/5. So you just take the square root of that purple 4/9. Okay, let's solve this. So we're going to have x plus 2/3 squared equals, add that 4/9 over, is going to be negative 11 over 9. Square root both sides. So x plus 2/3 equals plus or minus I squared of 11 over 3, because the square root of 9 is 3. And then minus the 2/3 over, so we're going to have x equals negative 2/3 plus or minus I squared of 11 over 3. Boom. We're done. Okay, last example. We talked about this on Monday, but we had a negative 16t squared plus your h sub 0. Now, this is is the function when you like throw it up. So, and we'll talk about that later too, but this is like when I was talked about in class when I dropped a lacrosse ball, you toss a baseball up. So, the height of a feet in baseball is t seconds after it's hit is given by the function y equals negative 16t squared plus 96t plus 3. We're not going to do a graphing calculator. We're just going to do it by hand, which is completing the square by dividing out that a value. So we have y equals negative 16 t squared plus 96 plus 3. So I want to put this into vertex form. So with that, I'm going to kind of ignore that 3 for right now. And I'm going to divide out a negative 16, first two terms. And so it's going to be y equals negative 16 t squared minus 6. That's a t plus 3. So I'm going to ignore that 3 for right now. And then I'm going to complete the square. So I'm not getting rid of that negative 16 like I did in the past. I'm not going to have you do this on a test or quiz, but this is just good to kind of think about. And then you take half of negative 6 divided by 2 squared is going to be 9. So we're going to have negative 16 t squared minus 6t plus 9 minus 9 plus 3 and then I hate teaching it this way, but this is another way to factor by grouping. And then you factor your pink box again. So you're going to have the negative 16 on the outside. You're going to have t minus 3 squared, and then it's going to be minus 6. And so how we get away with this is just another way to factor by grouping, but I don't like teaching it this way, or factor by completing the square, sorry, is you keep the a value at the beginning, and this is like how you would get it into vertex form, because then you can distribute this. So you would leave this as negative 16 t minus 3 squared, and then you distribute it to that negative 6. That becomes plus 147. So now you have it in vertex form. So like this makes sense because if you have someone tossing a baseball, right, it's going to be kind of like a little curve. So now your vertex would be 147. So it goes 147 feet, and the height is 3. No. You go over 3 and up 147. So 147 is the feet, and then the y is the seconds. So it goes 147 feet in 3 seconds. So again, I won't make you do example 2 on a quiz or test, but it's just kind of a different way to factor by completing the square. But really today the idea was that we divided out your GCF of whatever it was. So A and B, it went into everything nice, which was nice, and then C and D, you just kept it as fractions. Okay, a couple of reminders. Tomorrow's a work day, and then test corrections are due Monday, and then we'll review on Monday, quiz on Tuesday. So if you have questions, email me. I will go over this again on Monday as well, so you can ask me questions in class on Monday. I hope you all have a wonderful day tomorrow, and a great weekend. I will see all of your lovely faces next week. Catch you on the flippity flop.